Another John Deacon solo song masquerading as a Queen track, Arboria, Planet of the Treemen, next on Crown Jewels. Hello there, and welcome everybody back to another episode of Crown Jewels here at the PLD Projects Network. I am your host, PLD, and this is the podcast where I take you on a journey through the entirety of the Queen catalog, song by song, bit by bit, version by version, as we discover which version of every song is the best or titular crown jewel version of the track. Try to give you some notes and quotes if I have them. I rank the song, and we see if it fits into my top 10 Queen-related tracks of all time. This week, we are continuing to blast through the Flash Gordon soundtrack. I'm not going to lie, these are quicker episodes, so you've got a lot of these 5 to 10 minute bits for me. We will get back to songs at some point which have 5, 6, 7 versions, and we'll get back to the longer, more chunkier episodes, as it were, but not this week. Arboria, Planet of the Treemen, is this week's song. It's written by John Deacon, and it features John Deacon on synthesizer. That's right. This is just a John Deacon solo piece. It does not even have any orchestration from Howard Blake, so it really is just a boy and a synthesizer. And that's the only notes and quotes I even have about the track. It's not a whole lot to it. So we're going to listen to it. And then we can go back and then I can tell you my opinion, my thoughts. How are we going to listen to it? Well, I don't want to get struck. I don't want to get copyrighted, whatever, etc., etc. So what I do, if you look in the show notes below, I'll have a Google Doc which you can click on. And that Google Doc will have a link to a YouTube version that you can listen to yourself. You'll pause me when I tell you to. You go listen to that. You come back, hear what I have to say, and then we'll get out of here until next week. So go ahead. Do it now. Pause me. I'll be here when you're back. All right, and welcome back. I will have to admit something about all of these Flash Gordon tracks. I've been saying there's basically no alternative versions. I mean, there is the film versions, which are basically, they are a little different, but not enough to really talk about. The only real big differences there are is like added dialogue. Basically, they kick the scene will take longer, and they'll have some dialogue thrown in there that's not on the album version. So it's not really worth listening to as far as looking for a Queen track to put on the album. That's why I haven't really mentioned them. But, I mean, in a technical sense, I guess you could say there's a film version. But we're not going to listen to it. You can watch the movie at some point, listen to the whole soundtrack on your own, and maybe you'll decide to kind of cut it out yourself and put it into your own playlist. You can do that. That's fine. For the reason for this podcast, I'm not going to talk about extra dialogue from the film. All right, let's talk about this particular song. Again, not much to it. It's very incidental. I can't even see myself listening to this on my own. Hardly ever. I can't see myself listening to it. I put it in a playlist because I'm a completist, and it's because it's part of the soundtrack. But it's really kind of quick incidental music. It's not bad. It is what it is. It does what it does its job. It creates a quiet atmosphere. It does sound like it has a bit of a Far Eastern influence. I could very well see this in a samurai film just as easily as a sci-fi film. This part of the film is when Aura, daughter of Ming, has rescued Flash after resurrecting him after an execution and brings him to a different world, the planet of the Treemen, where we meet up with Timothy Dalton, who is Aura's other lover, I guess. But basically, she wants to hide Flash with Baron, and Baron's not entirely thrilled with the situation. But that's pretty much it's a quick 1 minute and 42 second song. Not a whole lot to it. It does its job well. But hey, I like the fact it's a John Deacon solo song. Hey, you don't get very many of those. So. And there you have it. That's it. That's the only version we are going to be talking about. That's the only version worth talking about. So it is the titular Crown Jewel version, the album version, unsurprisingly there. Now we get to rate the song on a scale of 1 to 11, because we always turn things up to 11 here on PLD Projects. Although, as I've mentioned, I always find it kind of weird rating these songs because it's There's songs that do their job, but they're not really songs. They're more incidental music. They're more background music for the film. They're not big movements. Most of them aren't big movements. Most of them are just kind of quick, slower or quick beds of atmosphere. Not something to really kind of rate. So I'm going to give this on a scale of 1 to 11. I'll give this one a 5.5 because I don't want to rate it any higher or lower. Not something I'm going to turn to, but I can't really fault it for doing its job. So there you go, 5.5 out of 11. So therefore, not in my top 10 related Queen tracks of all time. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us this week. I know it's another quick one. This whole album is going to be kind of quick. In fact, the next album might be a little bit quick. As we get into the next album, will be Roger Taylor's Fun in Space, his debut solo album. Those don't have a lot of different versions either. Mostly the Queen stuff has the many varied tracks. But Roger Taylor's at least are full-on songs. They're kind of easier to talk about. This is always going to be kind of a hard sell as far as this goes. In fact, some people don't think that this should be a Queen album because it really is just mostly incidental music. But it's officially a Queen album. It is Queen music. We're going to talk about it. That's what I do. So this is this week. Next week, folks, Escape from the Swamp, a Roger Taylor piece, which you've kind of sort of heard bits of before, but I'll save that conversation for next week. Thank you so much. Give me that 5-star review on the audio side of things. If you like it on the YouTube, subscribe, leave comments, help me fight the evil almighty algorithm. You can also join our Patreon at patreon.com/PLD Project. This is my sister YouTube channel where I do a lot of my main stuff about movies and TV shows. I do Star Wars V, Doctor Who, do some film fighting kind of stuff. It's kind of a cool place over there. But I do a Patreon where I get to put these tracks up early, these episodes up early, because I record them much earlier than some of my other podcasts. So if you want to get these early on, maybe a week or two early, you sign on for the Patreon and you'll get that. Of course, if you can't, I get it. I totally understand it. You can help in those other aforementioned ways: the liking, the subscribing, the sharing, all that stuff. And leave your comments. What do you think about this track? What do you think about the Flash Gordon soundtrack in general? Let me know in the comments. All right, I'll talk to you next week. See you then. Bye now.